Hello, everyone. And Luis, thank you for accepting my invitations to be here tonight here in Portugal. Some people maybe from Australia and other countries are joining us. And I really appreciate your time to be here with us.
It's a great pleasure, Arlindo. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Why are we doing this in English? Some people are thinking, maybe question about that is for one reason. I decided to invite Luis to talk about the symptoms of my clients that I have at the moment. And only maybe 5% of them speak Portuguese. They are foreigners and they don't speak Portuguese. That's the reason. And then we decided to open these conversations to everyone. That's why the reason we are doing in English. So I hope everyone.
Arlindo, maybe switching off the music would be a good idea.
Yeah, that's right. Good question. I was going. Thanks. Really good. And the main goal also is to help them to see the body in a different perspective. In this case, Luis' perspective, Luis' approach to the body symptoms. He has a different view, and we are going to talk about that. So I know Luis since 1990. Yeah, 1990. So for almost 23 years, and you know, a little bit history. I did a lot of courses with him, you know, and I've been following him, and I've been seeing his increasing knowledge and experience in these areas of self-development. I really like, and I'm really a follower of his approach. And then that's why we are here, to ask him to maybe to help my clients, and everyone is here, and everyone is gonna watch this video after. So before we start talking about the body symptoms, I would like to start asking Luis. So Luis, what is your approach about? So what do you do, so people can understand a little bit more about that?
Right. For me, in everything I do, it's a truth. My truth is that everything starts with my consciousness. So everything starts from my way of being, the way I express myself. So I work with spirituality applied to matter. So I help people solving and sorting out problems in matter out from spirituality. And in those spirituality on matter issues, today we've chosen the body-mind relationship. So when I have a problem in my body, what does that mean? In my mind, it means in my consciousness. What kind of conflicts do I have in my consciousness? So I've specialized in that over the years, and this is what I'm going to talk about during today's session.
Fantastic. Okay, thanks, Luis. Yeah, I think, and for those that don't know my work, only a short explanation. I work with more people, 50s, 60s, 70s, and I use movement, exercise to help them to improve their quality of life. Or if you like, in other words, a specific coach or personal trainer for this age group. That's what I've been doing the last years. All right, and Luis, another thing I would like to ask you, you have, I think, 5, 6 books written. So one of the books that's what we're going to talk today about a little bit. And you have another one also related with your course, is Create Another Life, Create Another World. Can you tell me a little bit more about, especially this one is today? I don't know if you can add a little bit more about that.
Right. So first of all, anybody can find those books in Amazon. They're available to the public. They're in English and in my mother tongue, which is Portuguese as well. And the Does Your Body Lie book has to do with what are the inner conflicts I'm facing that I'm not aware of. And because I'm not aware of them, they are revealed through physical symptoms. So you open up the book and you see a symptom, and you realize that by reading what I say about the symptom, that symptom has to do with an inner conflict that hasn't been addressed, that I was not aware of. So it has to do with many symptoms. You have, I don't know how many symptoms, but more or less 500 or 600 symptoms of any kind, and they all address the inner conflict the person has been struggling with, even though the person is not aware of those conflicts. And most time when symptoms come, it is precisely because people are not aware of those inner conflicts. The other book that you've shown is called Create a New Life, Create a New World. This has to do with the way we can create a better life for ourselves. And by creating a better life for ourselves, we can also create a better world, a new world where we can live. Because everything starts with our inner vibration. And my path in life in this earth has to do with my inner vibration. If I know how to change my inner vibration, I will be able to follow a different life and to create a new life. And also, I will get a better sense of direction. So my path will be more appropriate to me. So I will live with less effort and probably better results. That's the second book. I also have a book on self-esteem. I also have another one on creation and repetition. How can you cease to be a somebody who is always repeating others and become a creator? I have several books, but these are the two that we're going to talk today about.
So in this case, we could say that you're talking about our inner conflicts and inner vibrations. So could we say that we need to learn how to change the way we think and the way we feel the thing in our life?
Yes, yes, definitely. Because things that affect our vibration are our thoughts, our emotions, the way we deal with thoughts and with emotions, our beliefs. And by the way, beliefs are often a trap, because beliefs, we should get rid of all our beliefs, because I don't know, a belief does not really exist. There is something I know, and there is something I don't know. There is no room for beliefs. If I know it, it's my truth. If I don't know it, it's also my truth. Why do I need beliefs for? So beliefs are a trap. And every time we talk about beliefs, we're being trapped in something that is formatting us. It's shaping us. And the first thing we have to do to have a better life and a healthier one is to get rid of those shapes, to get rid of those forms, and beliefs and thoughts are very often those forms. One of the things that we are away from very often is intuition. And intuition, in the Anglo-Saxons like to call it an insight. And it's really an insight. It's something that sprouts from within. But something that more normally, instead of using intuition, we use reasoning. And reasoning is based in beliefs and thoughts. So if I'd rather use intuition instead of reasoning, my life would be smoother and I would find my way in this world much easier. Intuition comes from Latin, from in, within, and tuere. And tuere means knowledge. We know the tuitions. When we go to college, we have to pay for our tuition, for our knowledge. So we have a knowledge that sprouts from within. That's intuition. The more I get connected to my intuition, the less I will have inner conflicts that are hidden. You see?
Yeah, yeah.
And one of the things that is really important regarding symptoms, and that's something I explain in my book, Does Your Body Lie, is that most beliefs in the world prevent people from exposing, from verbalizing their emotions. Most of the people, they block their emotions. They do not express emotions. They find some kind of mechanism, a defense mechanism, to block and control emotions rather than to leave them. So any blocked emotion has a tendency to become a symptom. It does not always happen, but it happens very often. So if you block emotions, something in my life will have to reveal emotions. If I don't listen to intuition, I'll have more emotions. Should I listen more to intuition, I will have less emotions. Now, if I don't listen to intuition, which, by the way, most people don't, because they're attached to beliefs, thoughts, reasoning. If I don't listen to intuition, I'll have more emotions. But if I block my emotions, I will have my life, my spirit, my consciousness telling me, Luis, what are you doing? So I'll be sent some messages, some signs. I'll find signs in my life, in my daily life, and I will find signs in my body. And those signs from the body are called symptoms, physical symptoms. So we have, it's difficult to say this to some people because people don't want to hear this. But when you have a symptom, it is something that your consciousness is revealing for you to become aware of. You see what I mean?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And that's the purpose of my book, Does Your Body Lie? And also of the book, Create a New Life, Create a New World. And everything I do is around this. I must become the master of my mind and the master of my life. And for that, I have to listen to my consciousness. And everything starts in my consciousness. What I decide to be true is true for me. And that truth will manifest in matter. That's why I call it spirituality in matter, because my truth manifests in matter.
Yes. Thank you, Luis, for sharing. Yeah, it makes all sense. And sometimes, sorry guys, sometimes people ask me, do you believe in Luis' approach? And the answer I said is not about believing or not believing. That's not the way I live. I try things, and if my life works for me, fantastic. So that's the way for me makes sense. And another thing, Luis, so we could say that your approach is only a little bit different to many others' approach. For example, if we have some kind of symptom, you go to the hospital, they probably give you some pills or do operation. So or maybe we're going to change the diet, or maybe we want to, maybe I'm a bit depressed and maybe I need a little bit yoga. So in your perspective, this kind of approach, and correct me if I'm wrong, these examples are examples trying to change our consciousness, our emotions from outside, but not looking inside. Is that right?
Right, Arlindo. If we have an illness, if we have a disease, we're not ease at all. We stop being at ease. We have a disease, an illness. We may need a doctor. No problem with that. Mm-hmm. The point is, if I don't do my own work and I don't understand what is wrong with me, and I always wait for solutions coming from the outside in, maybe they will sort out some of my symptoms, but probably those symptoms will be recurrent. So they will show up again. Mm-hmm. An organ, anything in our physical body that is really healed will never be ill again. It will never be sick again. So what happens is, when I deliver my health to someone else, and no problem with that, I also should take care of my health and my life and my inner vibration on my own, because they can make me get rid of symptoms, but possibly those symptoms will come back. And very often, the fear of having symptoms coming back is as strong as the symptom itself. So, indeed, there are people that go to the doctors and they do some treatments and things go away. But very often they come back. When they come back, it means it has not been healed. It has been postponed. Tomorrow, maybe we'll deal with something different. Whereas if I still go to the doctor and I do my own work and I work on my inner vibration and I understand what's wrong with my consciousness, with my inner conflicts, and I address those conflicts and I address those emotions and I verbalize those emotions, I will be much better off, because not only shall I get rid of my symptoms, as well as I can get rid of the cause of those symptoms and not having them anymore. So I can get rid of things forever because I'm touching the cause and not only the effect. You see what I mean? So it's rather an intelligent approach, because I do not leave my life and my health on somebody else's hands. I take my life in my hands. So I assume responsibility.
Yeah.
When people are ill, when people have a disease, they're not at fault. They are not the guilty ones. It's not their fault. No, it happened. It happens to anyone. But the responsibility for healing, it's one's responsibility. It's not someone else's, because responsibility means the ability to respond. So doctors will help me respond, but I have to be the first one to want to respond. If I don't want to respond and I don't want to take things in my hands, it's very difficult to become responsible. So not being responsible, of course, it's less probable that I can get rid of things forever. So I'll be facing recurrent symptoms.
Thank you. And so we could say, can we say that two of the main tools for that is being conscious, be aware of
Yes.
And also another one is verbalize the emotions.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. And base yourself in facts. So try the things. Do not believe everything you're told. Try things. And as you said before, see if they work for you or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Become the ruler of your own life.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one thing I really like about your approach, is exactly like, it's opposite to religions, or with all the respect for religions or whatever, they try to convince that we need to think in a specific way, Now you always are telling us, okay, guys, this is my truth. Try. If it works for you, maybe it will become your truth. If it doesn't work for you, find your truth. And I really like that point of view.
Most of us spend many years in this planet because the most difficult thing to find out about ourselves is what is true for us. And what we are receiving all the time is beliefs from others. But as long as they come from others, they're just beliefs. They're not my truth. So I spent some 60, 70, 80 years in my life trying to understand what is true for me. And that's something, it's probably the hardest thing to do on this planet, to understand what is true for me and what has been told by others.
Yeah. Because we have so much, let's say, so much, beliefs, one on the top of each other. It's hard to start to clean and try to find the truth. And but yeah, that's why probably we live 70, 80, 90 years to have time to go.
Yes, and replacing beliefs is not enough, because many people work on replacing beliefs. You end up with beliefs again. I don't want that. I want to understand what is my truth. And I can only do that through facts, through the actual verification of facts, not through beliefs.
Fantastic. Okay, I think as introduction is enough. Let's go directly to the symptoms. So this introduction, we made this more for people don't know the Luis work, and to have a better understanding. So we are going to start with Locomotor system, Luis, and would you like to start with that, and then I have a few topics to cover?
Right. So the locomotor system has tendons, ligaments, bones, muscles that make us move in this world. The spine is also, the central nervous system is also connected, but it's mainly our movement. So mainly what we see, head, arms and legs, right? The limbs and the head and the neck. And everything that happens in muscles or in bones has to do with undervaluation. For instance, we're going to approach some symptoms, and the first ones are arthritis and osteoarthritis. Osteoarthritis is a particular type of arthritis, and it's the most common one, right? So what happens with arthritis is that we have the swelling and the tenderness of the joints, of one joint or more joints. But it's more specifically, it happens more in hands, in knees, hips, and the spine. Okay, many people have osteoarthritis. Osteo comes from the Greek and means bone. So it's arthritis in the bone. This means the person is going through a strong personal undervaluation. Now, this can happen to old people, and it can happen to young people. Sometimes it happens more to aging people than to young people. Why? Because people feel undervalued by age. One of the things that, well, I myself, I'm about to be 63, so I'm not part of the youngest in this planet anymore. And one of the things I've learned is that when you're growing older, you have to forget about some things you used to do. There's the end of the cycle, and then start doing different things. And many people want to use their muscles and their bones the same way they did use them for the last 60 years. And I'm sorry, it's not possible. There are some things that we used to do before that we can't do anymore. So the better way to face aging is acceptance. But most people do not accept that. And when they don't have the same flexibility, the same strength, the same mobility, they feel undervalued. And it's because they feel undervalued that they have to go under and undergo strong symptoms, because arthritis can be very painful. It mainly has to do with really the undervaluation I'm feeling of not accepting who I have become. But if I want to be doing the same things at 60 that I was doing at 20, it means I have not evolved. So at 20, I was very strong with lots of mobility and flexibility. I was doing things. Oh, today, oh, aging is bullshit. That's what people tell me. I can't do this, I can't do that. Okay, but you are much wiser. You understand things better. You've understood life differently. So hooray! Why do I need to use the muscles and the bones the same way? So should I not feel aging would be bad for me, I would not go through that undervaluation, and possibly I would have much less bone symptoms like arthritis or osteoarthritis. And that's why what you do with people, the movement is very good, but it has to be movement. It doesn't have to be physical exercise anymore. You work on movement, and that's fantastic. And going from the strong physical exercise to a slow and mild physical exercise to some movement is something we have to learn with age. No problem with that. Now, one of the things I'm carrying on with the list that we have, okay, Arlindo?
Yeah. I could add only one thing. That's one thing I notice a lot when my clients come to me, and the first day and the first weeks take a while and sometimes months for them to understand that I'm not there to expecting, big results, big changes, and they want to prove. Is a thing, like they want to prove to a teacher, or that I need to be good again, I need to be fast, I need to be agile, and then I work with them that, guys, it's past. Okay, even me, I do different things now, different way, and I'm fine with that, and it's so good. Yeah, so it's really interesting what you are saying.
Yeah, because if they worry about becoming good students and good pupils to the teacher, that's the best way to be undervalued and the best way to get arthritis or any problem with bones and muscles. So getting to the wrist, right? We have the wrist now, which is also a joint. The wrist is the joint of the whole body that has the most mobility. It bends all over in any side. It is the wrist that allows me to play the piano. It's not only the fingers, it's the wrist. To play basketball and to be good at basketball. To paint, to do some sculpture. So the delicate movements can be done with the wrist. The wrist is used to do delicate movements. Of course, if I'm a boxer or if I'm a Muay Thai fighter, I will be using the wrist in a different way. But the wrist is supposed to be something that is delicate, that allows me to do many things. And everything moves everywhere. All right? Now, and I'm doing this like a dancer would do. He extends all the tendons and all the ligaments. Now, when I have a problem in my wrist, well, if yesterday I was carrying a lot of load, a lot of weight, today I feel my wrists. That's not a symptom. That's a physical reaction. But if I often have wrist problems, then it means I'm not addressing an issue that I should be addressing that is important for my life. I'm not using the delicate way of talking to someone about something that worries me. And so I am avoiding to talk to that person, either in something that I want to manifest in matter or something that I would like to manifest in my relationship, either if it's the right or the left one. Then I may have a problem with the wrist because I'm just not addressing that conflict. I'm just trying to go about it, not talk to the person that I should be talking to. It's some kind of dubious creativity that I should be stopping, right? Now we have the neck. The neck, the neck is a passage of my ideas from my head to my body. So the neck precedes the action. The next is the transfer of the ideas to the action. The action starts at the shoulders, right? So the next represents flexibility and the capacity to look around and to look back. And of course, when I have a stiff neck in the back of the neck, it means I'm being obsessive with something. I'm really being obsessive with something. And problems in the neck are more on the back side of the neck, on the so-called nape. And it's because I am too warrior, for those who are familiar with the yang and yin behavior, I am too yang, to warrior, to volunteer. I want too much to do something. I am obsessive. In the front of the neck, normally it's not the neck that we have problems with. It can be any organ that may be on the throat or around the throat. Neck problems are normally on the back or on the sides. And this means I'm really using a too warrior, too attacking, too obsessive behavior. I need to ease down. Well, when I'm furious with something, when I'm enraged, in wrath with something, the part of the shoulders and the neck becomes stiff. Because when I feel anger, it comes to this part of the body. And this is because of the animal life. The animals, when they have to fight, all their strength comes to the neck and shoulders, and they face one another with the neck and shoulders, and becomes very stiff. If I'm being very, very angry, I can have a stiff neck and shoulders. And that's because I'm very angry. Again, a very warrior, obsessive, attacking behavior.
But
okay? Behavior.
It's very interesting you are saying, because I know people with this kind of things, but when they talk, the way they live, it looks like they are very in peace, very friendly, very lovely.
Now, in the neck, Arlindo, we still have the vertebrae, okay? The 7 bones on the back, on the spine. And those, when you have problems in those specific bones, because the stiff neck is in the muscles, all right? And sometimes it's a nerve. But here we are at the bones and the vertebrae. And it means when I have problems in the cervical vertebrae, it means I cannot be who I am. I'm rather seen for what I do or for what I have, and not for who I am. I feel it's unfair. It's unfair. I'm not respected for who I am. Those people have cervical problems. Now, talking about the back as a whole.
Maybe lower back.
The lower back. Okay, the lower back is the zone of the lumbar area, the lumbar vertebrae. So let's start with the vertebrae. So the bones of the spine, or that area, and it's again who I am, but not with close people, with strangers, and with and the family. It's I said it's not with close people. It can be with close people, but it has to do with matter. Okay, it's a lordosis that we have. It's a lumbago. It's in the lumbar vertebrae. It means that I'm feeling a big pressure in everything that has to do with matter, regarding my roots, regarding work, or regarding my family, or regarding my home. Matter is being stuffed with me and with my, and I can't really be who I would like to be in my family. I feel stressed by matter things, it can be money, can be work, can be my wife, my husband. Yes, I feel stressed by those things and I can't handle them. I feel the weight of my family on my lumbar area, right? Many people have problems there. It's when they feel unsecure with the so-called roots problems, work, money, home, the place where I live, even my biological mother. And that's very common. When it's in nerves and in muscles at that area, it is the same. It is the same point. It is also that I'm feeling really the beliefs of my family, the clan, the beliefs of my society are, they're very, very heavy to me. I can't be who I would like to be. There's always some kind of a struggle with beliefs of the family or of society because of work. We have also what others do you have?
Okay, now we have a shoulder. Okay, probably you did neck, shoulder, knee, and hip.
All right. Shoulder, knee, and hip. Now, the shoulder has to do, the shoulder is very much used by some sports people. In golf, in tennis, in many sports, the shoulder is used. And the shoulder is used to reach out for something. So when I want to reach out for something, I use my shoulder. So I go and reach out for something that is a little bit far away from me. I have problems in my shoulders when I'm trying to reach out for something that is not mine to reach out, because it has to do with me. It has to do, for instance, I want my boss to do something she is not doing or he is not doing. I can have a problem in my right shoulder. May it be the bone, the tendon, the ligament, the muscle, all go to this shoulder, the right shoulder, right? It's because I want somebody to do something and they're not doing what I'm telling them. So I'm trying to change someone. And when it's in the left shoulder, it's with somebody close. It's a relationship, my mom or my son or my wife, and I'm trying to have them doing things that I'm telling them to do, and they're just not they're not doing it. So I want to reach out for them. And of course, I have problems in my left shoulder. So these are people that start worrying about something that is none of their business. It's not our business, and still we want to put our nose in it, and we have problems in our shoulders. Now, you said the knees, right?
Yeah, so we have shoulder, knee, and then hip. Yeah.
Okay. The knee is the joint that is most used by humans. We use a lot the knees. We're always moving the knees. Even when we're asleep, even we're always moving this. When we are standing, we use the knees constantly. So everybody has small knee problems. That's all right. Now, when you have strong knee problems, it is again undervaluation. We know that. Lack of flexibility in every joint is undervaluation and lack of flexibility. But in the knee, it's lack of humility. You know, we use knees to kneel. People who go to church, when they go and pray, they kneel. They put their knees on the floor. And kneeling means humility. I'm surrendering to other dimensions. I'm surrendering, for instance, for people who are spiritual, I'm surrendering to the spirit or to God, to whatever they call it. And somebody who has chronic problems in the knees is somebody who's trying to be arrogant. It's non-conscious, possibly. But that's why the knees show I'm being not as humble as I should. And it happens very often. And also, I don't feel secure enough, either in my relationship, left, or in the things I have to make up my mind with, I have to take decisions, the right knee. But normally, when it's the knee, it has a lack of humility, but also the insecurity of not being able to take the decisions that I need to take regarding my relationship or my family, close family, or something at home or at work that I have to take a decision and I'm not being able to. Right? Now, it was the hip.
The hip, yeah.
The hip is very common in aging people. Very often, aging people, when they fall down, they break or they have problems in their hips, right? And sometimes it's fatal. So what does the hip mean? The hip means, again, obsession. I want it to be done this way. Aging people should not be rulers anymore. They should delegate. They should let their children decide. And this happens to very old people, not to people my age or 70s. It happens rather to people who are in the 80s. And when they fall, they can really break that bone. And it's part of a joint. It has other bones. But what is amazing is these people, they don't want anybody to take care of them. They know. They are the matriarch and the patriarch. They are the ones who know. They want to be the rulers. They don't listen to anyone. And it's this way. It's my way or no way. And then they break their hips. These are people that are too young, too conflictive, to warriors, to volunteers. They want to do things their way. They never delegate. These people have never been humbled in their lives. And of course, when they hit the hip and they kill it because they break it, they have a very, very, very unpleasant end. And even though some of them, they do not want to learn. For people my age or 70s, it's not that much a problem yet, although it happens. But it's more for the aging, really aging people. Now, what others do we have in the...
Okay, and the last one is the symptoms of restless leg syndrome.
Okay, restless legs, that means the legs that need movement. I can't be still with my legs, and sometimes I feel itching, sometimes crawling, pulling, aching, throbbing, or sometimes pins and needles. It depends. Sometimes it's just I can't have them still. I need to move them. This is someone who this is the central nervous system working. And this is someone who is too active in their minds. These people are too active in their minds. Again, they are much worried with things that they should not be worried with. They cannot relax. They cannot meditate. They cannot just stay still. They always have to move. These are people that are very active without any purpose. They just, when I want to be active for no purpose, it means I'm trying to sort out problems that need not be sorted. I'm inventing problems. I'm creating my own problems. I'm not living my Zen life as I should. I'm just creating problems for myself. And of course, I become somebody who wants to movement all the time. But it's a movement that has not objective. It has no goal. It's just because I need to move. I can't stay still. I can't stay meditative. I can't lower my breath. I can't ease down. Right?
Right.
All right.
All right. So, we're going to move to the endocrine system.
Oh, the endocrine system. Yes. We have here two things. It's the thyroid and the diabetes, right?
That's right.
All right. Yes. Well, the thyroid is a very important, they are all important. The 7 endocrine glands are important. But the thyroid is the one that rules, it's the ruler of the metabolism. What is the metabolism? It's the chemical interchange in the body. So thyroid, normally women are more sensitive to the thyroid than men, although we all have the thyroid. The thyroid is a very feminine organ, a very feminine endocrine gland. And it has to do with expression. If I do not express myself, if I cancel myself, and usually these people, they don't speak to the right person at the right time, at the right place. They speak to the wrong person about the right person, but never with the right person, always with the wrong person. At the wrong place, because they're not facing the right person, they're talking to somebody who's not at the right place. At the wrong time, because they're not talking with a person at the right time, they're talking with someone else. So these people are pretty active in expressing when it's not with the person they have a problem with. When it's with the person they have a problem with, they have a problem with expression. Either they start screaming and crying and being too hysterical, and the other one doesn't listen to them, or they cancel themselves and they end up never saying exactly what was wrong with them. So these are people who have a low self-esteem because they are afraid others would not like what they have to tell them. It can be hyperthyroid. When you have hyperthyroid, thyroid, it means hyperthyroidism or hypothyroidism, when it's too big and too small. They have the same problem, but it expresses differently, right? The most common is the hyper, but many people have the hypo. The hypo is somebody who cancels himself or herself so much that he doesn't even talk anymore. The hyperthyroidism, that person still expresses, but to the wrong people, right? At the wrong time, at the wrong moment. So these people need to express and address their conflicts with the right person. All right? Now, the diabetes. The diabetes has to do with another endocrine gland, which is the pancreas. Now, the point with the diabetes people is that they are unable to assimilate and store sugar in their own cells, their own body cells. Sugar escapes through urine. So you go to the toilet, you pee, and sugar goes away. So you are unable to assimilate and keep your sugar inside your own pancreas cells and your cells, okay? So, and the sugar the pancreas creates is a very alkaline one. And because they cannot retain the sugar when they have diabetes, instead of having an alkaline blood, they start having a very acidulated blood. So it's very acid. It's hyperacid blood. And of course, an hyperacid body, right? So these persons, they become sour, they become acid, they become aggressive. They have to keep away from sugar, and sugar represents love. These people can't stand love. Very often, it is something that happened in childhood with their dad, their father. They couldn't stand their father for some reason. They would not allow themselves to verbalize to the father how disgusted they were with that father. They tried to look for shelter in the mother, and the mother wouldn't give them any shelter and any love. So imagine this boy or this girl that doesn't like dad's attitude, that tries to find some comfort and some love in mom, and mom doesn't give it to him either, possibly because she's afraid of that. So this person learns sugar is bad, love is bad. I become sour, I become acid, I become aggressive, I become combative, I become very warrior. And what happens is I can't get hold of my sugar and it goes away through my urine. These people need to learn about love again. But they have a big problem with that. And if ever they encounter a boss that is tough with them, they may have symptoms as if it was the dad. Or if they have a husband that reminds them the father, they may have the same problem, because the model of the masculine man, which was the father, is always present. Sometimes we have people 75, 76 with diabetes. And we said, but he doesn't have the father anymore. I know, but the model of the father did never go away. And he finds it in other people that represent the model of the man. He can even be a boss who is a girl, but she represents the boss, and the boss is a male figure. You see? So these people need really to go back to learn how to love. And most of the time, for everyone that I've encountered whom I've treated for diabetes, they never recognize this. It's always something they're not aware of. It's very tough for them. Mm-hmm. It's hard. It's hard. These people need compassion. It's a hard thing to live with. Mm-hmm. Now, I guess we go to blood now, Arlindo?
Yeah. Blood, high and low blood pressure.
Yes, the high and low blood pressure is relatively easy to understand. Every time I need to go to a fight, my blood pressure increases, the speed of my heart increases, my coronary arteries swell, and there I go, ready for fight, right? The point with this person, this individual, is he never gets to the fight. Of course, the fight nowadays is not a physical fight. It's a communication fight. And this person started swelling the coronaries, so saying, I need to talk to that man or to that girl. I need to do this and to do that. Then he's already, everything is ready for the fight. And the fight never happens because it's somebody who's never confronting anyone. He never speaks out loud his feelings. He never goes and talks to the right person. So this person has some demons in his life that he never addresses. Can be the dad, the mom, can be the husband, can be the neighbor, can be anyone. And it's someone who never goes and talks to those people because he's so much afraid of talking that all this super duper energy that he brought together to go to the fight, where does it go? It stays. And what happens? The pressure never goes away. Should I go and talk to the person I had a problem with, I would lower the pressure again because it would have gone through talking. But here it never goes. And what happens, these people, like those with the thyroid problems, they always talk to the wrong person at the wrong time, in the wrong place. These are the high blood pressure people. And then you have the low bloods. The low blood is the people that also, like in the thyroid, they cancel themselves. Oh, this is too much for me. And so they faint. And this is too much. I have to sit down. These are people that pretend to be victims of the world. and they cancel themselves. And so they have low pressure. They do not talk either. Again, they talk to the wrong person at the wrong time. But these ones cancel themselves. So they have very, very low pressure, low blood pressure. We find both in societies. But what is amazing is there are groups of people that get together with high blood pressure, and they all have the same behavior. And then you have groups of people that get together who have low blood pressure, and they have the same type of behavior. It's amazing. They recognize themselves as part of a group, the low blood pressure ones and the high blood pressure ones. It's quite peculiar. They hate to be told they're not confrontative enough. They hate. What makes they become furious. But again, they do not become confrontative and effectively confrontative again. So they have to talk to the neighbor upstairs, and they never go and talk to the neighbor. They talk to the neighbor in the, I don't know, anywhere in the street, but never to the right neighbor. Right? You see what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm going to talk with my clients, some are existing. So if you are not enjoying this conversation with Luis, please next time tell me directly. Don't hold that. All right?
Yes, exactly. That will be good for her blood pressure.
Yeah, your blood pressure. Yeah. And I know Luis told me that, Arlindo, you're sure, because not everyone loves my approach. And yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, this is not my purpose is to offer to my clients a different tool, a different approach to their life. If they like it, they can use. If they don't like it, it's like eating chicken. We eat the meat, throw away the bones. So yeah, everyone chooses whatever they want.
Yes, everyone chooses whatever they want. We are right. We are right. Yes.
Right. So blood is done. Now we have two symptoms for skin.
Psoriasis and alopecia.
At the occipital right side, specific. I'm not sure.
Okay, right. So psoriasis is something that happens in the skin, and it's quite curious. It's someone who has two conflicts. Example, I want to be with her, but I'm not sure I should be with her. I feel attracted by her, and I go with her. Then I come back and I say, maybe I shouldn't be with her. So, first of all, it's a relationship symptom, and it's a double conflict, and it's a double opposite conflict. So I want one thing, but I also want the opposite. It's like a small schizophrenia, which is not a small one, because the person is like a fish. The skin starts removing itself, like when you take away the skin of the fish or of the snake, and it really falls apart, and then you have very strong red, rubeous bruises. And people step away from the one who has psoriasis. They are afraid of psoriasis. They say, "Whoa, that's disgusting. I'm never going to talk to touch that person." So I have a problem with somebody who is close, and yet I create such a symptom that I can't be close to that person anymore. So I want to be there, but I don't want to be there. Then I go to the beach in summer, and the sun is a big friend. And psoriasis becomes milder, and many of the symptoms disappear. But then, after summer, they come up again. Until the day on which I address this double conflict, psoriasis does not go away. Now you do treatments, and I know people who do, they do, what do you call it? Immunosuppressors treatment. They suppress their immunity, like when you have somebody who has a new kidney or a new heart, they give them drugs to lower their immunity so that they don't throw the kidney or the new heart away. Here, they put asleep the immune system of the person so that that person does not show anymore those bruises in the skin. That's the treatment they give. I know someone who has a strong psoriasis for 20 years. I know his conflict. He never wants to address his conflict. He's already talked to me about that. He doesn't want to do anything about that. And of course, he had psoriasis for 20 years. Now he's on immunosuppressants. Of course, it's much better. But the problem is with the immunosuppressants, you create an immunity problem, so he has other problems. Because he didn't want to solve one, he created a lot of others. And this is something that I have the courage to address. Really, I'm in a fight within myself, a double conflict with something that is dear to me. Now, alopecia is a strong word for losing hair. Any type of hair. It can be hair on the head. It can be, it's a localized hair, okay? It can be in the body hair, okay? Some people sometimes lose their eyebrows. Some others lose their hair in a leg or whatever. But here is in the occipital area, right? Okay. Now, what is the person with alopecia facing? Strong fear and strong problem with his sense or her sense of direction. A loss of connection with the consciousness, with intuition. And this person, because it's in the occipital area, is really not paying attention to intuition. He or she has a lot of fear and some obsessive behavior. And possibly with a man. Possibly with a man. Because it normally has to do with the male model. But this person really needs to understand that here are antennas. Antennas connect us to everything that is more spiritual, that is more intuitive, that is more subtle. And this person has lost his or her connection to the spirit, to the other dimension. She's too much of a warrior again, trying to sort out problems with reasoning instead of doing with some finesse, with some intuition. Right?
All right. Okay. Thanks, Luis. Now
we're left with five.
One, yeah. The other thing, obesity, anxiety, depression, cancer, and insomnia.
Okay. Okay, those are the five left. Obesity, anxiety, depression, cancer, insomnia. I'm starting with obesity, right?
All right.
Okay.
You can choose, yeah.
Okay. Now, obesity, there are several reasons for obesity. But the main one is the feeling of abandonment. Feeling abandoned. Anyone who feels abandoned needs others to see him or her. Hey, I'm here. I feel abandoned. I feel isolated. I was left here alone. Can you see me? And what happens, that person becomes bigger, becomes swollen, much bigger, as somebody calling for attention. And very often this person eats, but does not feel that the nutrition that he's putting in his body is enough. It's never enough nutrition. So food does not satiate him. It's never enough. Why? Because he feels abandoned. He or she feels abandoned. And this idea of being abandoned and alone in the world, he or she tries to sort it out by eating, and it's not possible. It's somebody who's really having a big problem. Somebody who has lost his mother can have this. Somebody who has been through an earthquake and was left somewhere for very late days and days and stayed in the streets may have this. It's really somebody who was left alone and felt really isolated in the world. Now, you're going to tell me, but I have lots of people in America, in the US, you have lots of obese people. In Europe, you have lots of obese people. All these people have a problem with feeling they have been abandoned. Although they're surrounded by people, they feel abandoned. It's really much more serious than we think. There is really a strong emotion of having been left alone that is not addressed. Well, and then we have some cultural obesity, which in some cultures is, I must be fat so that I show everybody how wealthy I am. So money, I'm lucky, I have a lot of money, I have a big fortune, I need to show. For instance, in Asia, this happens a lot. They become big because they want to show how prosperous they are. But that's another reason in culture. It's a cultural reason, right? Now, anxiety. Anxiety is something wild animals never feel, but domestic animals do feel. Anxiety is when I think of the future too much. The future hasn't happened yet. When I think too much of the future, it means I'm not focusing enough on the present moment, here and now. It means I am somebody with lack of faith, lack of trust in my life. I have no faith. So I'm always afraid of what will happen tomorrow, but I don't know what will be happening tomorrow because tomorrow we don't know what will happen. So it's crazy. These people worry about something that they should never worry about. In Latin, we have a word that is also used in Anglo-Saxon that is preoccupied. How can I preoccupy myself? If I'm occupied, it's a present. Preoccupied doesn't exist because I'm not occupied yet. How can I be preoccupied? But it's exactly what these people do. They become busy with things that haven't happened yet. And these people have a lack of faith and a lack of spirituality in their lives. They have a lack of trust. They need to learn how to become much, much more faithful. Depression.
Keep going, Luis. I'm gonna take 1 minute, but keep going.
Okay. So, depression. What is depression? Depression happens to people who are sad, but who are sad because others don't do what they want them to be doing. Depression, when I receive people who are depressed, they hate me for telling them this. It is that most depressed people, I always say most, although I know it's all, the depressed people, they would like others to do exactly what they tell them to do. And others just don't do what they tell them to do. So they feel depressed. These are people who want to rule the world, who want the world to be their way. And when others don't do what they want them to do, they feel depressed. They feel sad. But they are sad about some things that others should or not do. It's crazy again. It's not the same as anxiety, but it's true that today in society, they say the two biggest diseases are anxiety and depression. And both of them are very, very little humble. The anxious wants to worry about things that he doesn't know about, so is not very humble. He should trust. And the depressive is not humble either, because he wants everyone to do exactly what he has predicted. It cannot be done this way. So the depressive people, the people who are going under depression, they make all the families become crazy. And then they play the victims. They want to be victims. They victimize themselves. And they say, you know, I'm depressed. So depression, in fact, does not exist. It's something they've created with their ego. It's people who want absolutely others to do what they want them to do. Cancer, right? Cancer, I'm not going to talk a lot about cancer. We could be talking the whole day about cancer. Cancer is an extremely strong emotion that I have not addressed, neither have I verbalized it. Cancer is something that really has brought me down emotionally. I don't want to address it, and I don't want to verbalize it. And very often, why? Because should I verbalize it and address it, I would be possibly creating some disruption in my family. And the last thing I want is for my family to be disrupted because of my problems. So many people who have been through cancer, I knew very many people who had been cancer for years, had had the cancer for years, never talked about it because they think it's disruptive. For some, it's a shame, and they do not address it, nor do they verbalize it. Whether it may be, of course, when I talk about cancer, I have to talk about the organ that is undergoing the cancer. But generally speaking, cancer is this. And it's the big problem with cancer is the label. It's been called cancer. So you're going to the doctor and the doctor says you have a problem with your, I don't know, your lungs, you react positively. He calls it cancer, you start dying. So the conflict of the word is terrible. And lastly, insomnia. And then we're done. Okay, we've been here for 1 hour and a quarter, more or less already. I think it's enough. Insomnia. Well, insomnia depends when it is. If it is right after midnight, if it is 2 or 3 hours after midnight, if it is at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, very often it's the digestive system, but not always. Because insomnia has to do with a separation I'm having from my spirit and my consciousness. I mean, when it's chronic, right? Today, I had a problem at the office. I didn't sleep for 2 days. That's not insomnia. I'm worried. I talk about insomnia when it is chronic. And when it is chronic, it means it happens very often. And when it happens very often, it means I am separated from my spirit, from my inner consciousness. I'm not together with my spirit. And that's it for today. Arlindo, sorry, maybe it had been too long.
It's okay. Now we were thinking about maybe ask some questions if we will finish a little bit early, but it's really too long. So if someone, Luis, tell us if someone who would like to know more about your work, your courses and stuff, how can they, find the information? What can they do?
Okay, so let me give you, I'm going to show, can you see it correctly?
Yeah, it's perfect, yeah. Luis,
okay, this is my website. I will leave you some time, especially for those who are not Portuguese, to write it down. This is my website, where there is in Portuguese and in English, where you can find many of the things I do and the books that are at the Amazon and things like that, it's LuisMartinsSimoes.com. It's my website. And very shortly in May, from the, can you see it?
Yeah. It's good.
Okay. From the 22nd to the 29th of May, in the middle of Portugal, close to Coimbra, in the Serra da Estrela, I'll be hosting and running the International Healing Workshop. On my website, you have all the information about it. And it is a 6-7 days journey about how to heal myself, how to understand what the inner vibration of my life is, and how to address any symptoms I may have. Not only physical, it can be symptoms with matter, it can be symptoms with relationships, it can be any kind of symptom that I may have in my life. By the way, I saw a question from someone about this book that you've shown before that is on Amazon. And this lady was asking in one of the chats there, if in this book she would find parts of the body. Yes, you find parts of the body. You find all the parts of the body separated by symptoms or by parts of the body. So you have, I don't know how many, I never counted, but around 600 parts of the body, either or symptoms that you can look up and see what they mean, right? So if the people would like to join the International Healing Workshop, it's going to be held in English. I will be running it. And it's going to be simultaneously translated to Portuguese in a very funny way. So people usually like it because it's fun. It's not boring as it is in many places. It's quite fun. And it's English, Portuguese. So anybody who understands English can attend and will be there to receive them.
Great. And Luis, can you explain the difference between that course, the healing workshop that is 1 week, and the one that you run? You have is in Portuguese, the 2 years course, the School of Spirituality in the Matter.
In matter, yes. Those are different things indeed. One is the International Healing Workshop, which is held once a year. We're planning to do it twice a year, but for the moment we can't because of traveling is very difficult for people because of this pandemic that we've been through. So we are holding it once a year. It's in May, and it's in English, and it's 1 week. Now, the school or the Academy for Spirituality in Matter, it is in my website in English and Portuguese, but it's only held in Portuguese and it's not translated. So it's not, and I'm sorry for that, open to foreigners unless they understand Portuguese. And it's a weekend. It has 2 years. The first year we have 9 weekends. So it's 1 weekend per month. So it starts in October, 1 week in October, one weekend, not a week, 1 weekend in October, 1 weekend in November, 1 weekend in December, and so on and so forth until June. You have 9, and in the second year you have 7. And people can also register if they want. The inscriptions, registrations I have already started for next year. It starts in October next year. And I'm very sorry again, it's only in Portuguese. All right. The day on which we have a lot of people speaking English, possibly it will be translated, but or maybe we have 2 sessions. I don't know, but 2 sessions impossible. We won't have time.
Yeah. Okay, Luis, I think we have, I think we cover everything we planned. Thank you. I really appreciate your time.
It was a pleasure.
And thank you, Carlos. You are in the background helping us, to admitting people in and maybe thinking out if they don't behave properly. Okay, guys. So So should we say goodbye to this everyone?
Yes. Thank you very much. Bye-bye, people.
Bye-bye. And
Stay in
we'll
touch.
the interview will be available on YouTube soon. We'll share with you guys.
All right. Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Arlindo. It's been a pleasure.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.